Smoke rippled into flame. My physical body burned to ash as my soul ripped out of its fiendish plane. The change tickled at what charred nerves I had left before I reformed in a burst of smoke. The material world rose around me. It adjusted as my body was molded from fire. As soon as the last of me was complete, my senses sharpening to their edged heights, the smoke dissipated into nothing, and the summoning was complete. A demonic grin spread across my lips. Fitting, given the circumstances, I looked around, scouring the field on which I would do battle, the space in which I would destroy, the land on which I would scorch air to ash. Whatever my summoner wanted now, that the ritual was complete. I stepped forward, blinking at the scene. My eyes narrowed on the stained furniture, the rough, mismanaged hardwood floor, the blue-painted walls chipped and torn due to misuse. My brow furrowed as I took another step forward, twisting to find my summoner and ascertain their need. My clawed foot tore into an object on the floor. A book I recognized when I looked down, my infernal soul licking the back of my eyes with tendrils of flame. I sneered. Why was there a book? My head whipped around, and I scanned over the ground to figure my summoning symbol. Yet all I found were more books, more simple, mundane objects, a plastic folder, children's toys. They were stewing about recklessly, forming into an adequate summoning circle as though purely by chance. What was this? I growled, the low, horrific sound cracking air around me. I'd been summoned, taken from the hellish abyss by a need for power. That was how most of all demons came to earth, by pure desire within a human for power as well as the knowledge to back it up. Most people summon demons for gain. They use them to raise their enemies or rise up in positions of power. But this wasn't a ritual for advancement. This was a ritual of ignorance. My eyes flared and I whipped around, searching for my summoner, for the human that cursed me with fulfilling a task that they hadn't even known to come up with. I would torture that human, subject them to torments agonizing enough to match their idiocy. I would... Crying. I blinked, stopping in place. The flame of my infernal soul calmed, flickering in curiosity rather than rage. Glancing down, I found the source of the sound, the incessant, annoying noise. A child. My head tilted, contorting into a scowl. The boy in front of me, staring up with his large, wet human eyes. He couldn't have been older than 5, and I watched him. The unfortunate truth descended upon me all too quickly. He was my summoner, whether I liked it or not. I scoffed. What power could a child even want? Yelling, I stopped again, simply staring at the boy. His piercing, misty blue eyes tore away from me and stared into the next room, at the loud, grown human man stumbling down a set of stairs. As soon as he saw, his wailing spawned anew. Tears streamed down pale cheeks, and he hurried back as far as he could. For a time I only watched, my rage suspended. The flame of my fiendish soul flickered in idle curiosity as the greedy, red-faced man wandered into the room. As soon as he did, the little boy shrieked in terror, yet, despite the obvious call of emotion, the man only grinned even deeper. He turned as he stumbled again. His glossy eyes fell upon me, flared out in anger, not in disgust nor confusion. They gazed at me as only an obstacle, a barrier between him and his son. The sense of pure ownership was obvious. He spat at me, the excretion sizzling into steam before he'd even touched my skin. Then he cursed under his breath and threw his half-drunken bottle in my direction. I stepped out of the way, letting the glass shatter on the wall behind. But I didn't let up my stare. I didn't stop studying the man. After his failed attempts to remove me, the man shook his head. Instead, he grew a grin far more wicked than even I would attempt, and stepped toward the child. The boy wailed once again and tried to scurry away, walking toward me and all but pleading for my protection. That was when I began to understand. I was a red-skinned, horned fiend of the abyss. Yet to the child, I wasn't even the greatest monster in the room. The man surged. I stepped right in his way, rebuking him with my eyes. His wicked grin morphed away, softening as he staggered. "Let me see my little boy." I scowled, the breath of his sin opening to me. He wasn't simply abusive. He wasn't simply greedy or possessive. He wasn't simply evil. He deceived as well, tried to hide his true nature behind layers of fake love. My infernal soul flared to life, rage seeping right back in. Even demons didn't mislead about their nature. We laid our corruption plain and clear. And all at once, I understood my summoner. I understood the reasoning that the child couldn't put into words. He wasn't ignorant. I'd been mistaken. He saw through his father's deception. He saw through his lies. The want for power stayed. It had even been realized through the summoning of my soul. He wanted the power to stop it. He wanted the power to make his father stop. "It's mine," the man growled, losing the pretense of love entirely, dropping his lie so that his true colors shine through in all of their vile, disgusting, irredeemable glory. I shook my head, stopping the father again. The child had summoned me here for what power I could offer, and I would provide exactly that. I would honor my pact and protect the child until it was done. The drunk man hobbled back before wheeling. He charged at me, a possessive glint shining through as he eyed his crying child. I pushed him back, the expression on my face twisted in disgust. I didn't show hatred, or pride, or arrogance. This pact required none of it. The boy had summoned a fiendish creature wrapped in flames, but staring back at the horrid, greedy, sinful man, I knew. He'd been living with a demon all along. This was an amazing story from Pomeranian, who's just a great writer. The prompt is you are a demon call responder. The devil can't answer every summon, so you go in his place. One day you get a summon, and the summoner is way below age limit. You are about to leave, but you hear her drunk dad coming downstairs screaming.